Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Kinsta Talks. And today I have with me in the call Juan Francisco Aldasoro, or just Juan, I learned. My name is Marcel Bootsman. I am the Partnerships and Community Manager for Kinsta in the EMEA region. And today we are going to chat about Juan's history in WordPress, in using it, in contributing to it, working on the community themes and core and all those kind of fun things. So I want to welcome you onto the call officially here, Juan. So nice to have you here.
Well, thanks so much. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Yeah, this is going to be a nice conversation. We have done a little bit of preparation before we started the recording. So Juan already knows that the first question I'm going to ask is, how did Juan join the WordPress community?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a bit of a coincidence. In 2007, I started using the software, and I got involved in the community in 2012, more or less. In those years, I was basically having a boutique agency, and I had clients abroad, mainly in the UK, Australia, and the US. Then I just was visiting some clients in the UK, and I saw that there was this event, WordCamp UK in Edinburgh. So I had attended there, and it was basically kind of like eye-opening to me, the community that was around this open source software, and how open everybody was there, and how collaborative and everything. And I just thought of this idea of like, okay, I need to have this in my country, in my home country, because I'm from Argentina. So it was 2013, more or less, that I was just checking some documentation in the codex, and I saw this banner that WordPress was turning 10, and that many meetups were happening around the world. So I decided just to go and announce a meetup. And that's when it started. For me, we started kind of like creating the Argentinian community. There were like 2 WordCamps before that. I remember Matt going to one. I haven't attended that. But since 2013, we started kind of like creating this community, organizing it, and kind of like bringing regular meetups to Buenos Aires. And yeah, I remember that year I also was traveling around the world while working. Back then, I already started my product company. It was a theme shop. And I remember that year I attended San Francisco, and then the first WordCamp in Europe, or the first WordCamp in Leiden.
In 2013, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So it was pretty much amazing, and that was a push for me to start thinking about organizing a WordCamp. And we managed to do the first one in 2015 in Buenos Aires for this new group that we were organizing, the local meetups, and another one in 2017. So over the years, we've been kind of like, doing regular meetups, and every now and then when we had the energy and the bandwidth, because it takes a lot of time and energy to organize WordCamps. We did it twice, and then we started kind of like receiving people from abroad, and just saying that things were possible, just to get into track and stuff, and entering I don't know, patches and adding things. So at some point I also started doing a bit of not community contributions, but other things. I remember also when we were organizing the WordCamps, Camtix, the software that is used to manage the ticket sales, didn't have kind of like a gateway for the Argentinian
For the
lands.
payments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing something with Mercado Pago, which is the local payment solution. So yeah, that was pretty much my involvement until 2017 was the last WordCamp we organized in Buenos Aires. And then I kind of like retired from the community organization. We tried to pass the baton to new people, and I started getting involved more in code every now and then. And it was until I moved here. Now I'm living in Spain, that I just I started to be more curious about what was going on. And my girlfriend, which she's an illustrator, needed a web shop, and I ended up like using Gutenberg more in depth. And I was kind of like, okay, this is really cool. I like the direction that this is taking, and I started to try to get more involved and submit patches every now and then. And eventually connecting with people and stuff, I showed interest also to be involved in the development of the default themes. I was doing some contributions for 2024, and then I just raised my hand when they asked for help for 2025, and luckily I got selected to be one of the co-leads, and that was probably also an intense period. I would say the time that I organized WordCamps and the time that I was working on 2025 were the times that I was pretty much heavily contributing to the platform. So yeah, that was end of last year, and I'm kind of like a professional that has a strong interest in kind of like building simple things and intuitive and just help people to get from point A to point B. And whenever I try and I see opportunities to help and contribute, I just, instead of like ranting on Twitter, I just go and open a ticket, or I just try to submit a patch if I have the time to do it.
Wow, nice.
So that's pretty much the short version of these 15-year, more or less, or 15 to 20-year kind of like relationship with WordPress and
Wow.
its community.
But thanks for this great introduction, Juan. The thing I wanted to ask, based upon your introduction, how is the WordPress community in Argentina right now?
Well, right now, during the pandemic, I moved to Barcelona in 2020. In Spain, during the pandemic, it was kind of like just no. There was no activity at all, and then there were some events that were online, and now they're having this hybrid approach where they every now and then they have an in-person event, and sometimes they have these meetups online. But since 2017, I think we didn't have any other WordCamp.
Okay.
But the community, the local community, is pretty strong. There are some Facebook groups that are popular, and it's a really popular tool to do things online in Argentina.
Okay. Facebook is still a thing in Argentina.
Yeah, I must say, for these type of things, I must say that there's some kind of like part of the community that goes more towards there to have discussions and stuff. We also have a forum.
Yeah, I think it's great that people find a place that they feel comfortable with, whether it's Facebook or X or whatever social media or whatever forum. I think it's great that people get together, share knowledge, ask questions, build stuff together. So it doesn't really matter where people do that. So when you moved to Barcelona, did you immediately start organizing stuff, or were you invited to join an organizing team, or how did that go?
No, I must say I'm pretty passive here in the community. I just attended a WordCamp, and I try to go to the WordCamp Europe every year. Spain has a really strong community. It's pretty nice to see because they have WordCamps all over the country, and there's many people that are just going from one WordCamp to the other, and everybody's so friendly and everything. But I must say, I just when I moved here, it's kind of like the social quota energy. I just invested in kind of like creating new relationships, because moving country at the age that I did, it's kind of like I wouldn't say difficult, but it's kind of like you have to start all over again. I knew a few people here, but then you have to invest a lot of energy to I don't know, to get new friendships and new kind of like activities and stuff. So I must say, I kept my contributions to code so that I can just do them whenever I wanted. But
Yes.
I really appreciate all the work that everybody's doing here in Spain, because it's awesome, and it's really nice to feel so welcome when you go to an event and you talk with organizers and stuff.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's when you see the different organizers from the different cities of Spain here in WordCamp Europe, they're kind of like just inviting you to the different ones. They're kind of like, their point of sale is like, we have octopus here, for lunch, and they're trying to convince you. So I haven't been to any other city than Barcelona. for WordCamps, but eventually I will for sure.
Yeah, that sounds great. You mentioned you put priority on contributing in code.
Uh-huh.
You have been contributing to core also, but I want to ask you a few questions about 2025.
Yeah, sure.
Because you said you were selected as a co-lead,
Uh-huh.
probably because of your work on 2020, the default theme from the previous year. What have you learned from being a co-lead for one of these default themes, in this case 2025 for WordPress?
Well, pretty much I learned the whole process and kind of like how the timeline goes for just putting things together and making a release something possible. So it's really nice that normally for every release there's a channel on Slack that where things are happening for the release leads, and it's super nice to see how all the different forces get together and they're kind of like collaborating and just yeah, kind of like managing to get everything together. So I would say in terms of like knowledge related to theme development, I mean there weren't like a lot of changes from 2024 to 2025, so I must say in that sense it's not that things were really different or that I learned a ton. But I must say that the thing that I liked the most was to see the kitchen of how things are done for a release and how things are aligned and how different requirements are to be met on a certain date and things like that. So I'm somebody that normally wants to, since an early age, I just want to kind of like open up things and learn how they work, you know. So
Of course.
it was really nice to see how a release kind of like gets together and goes out from the inside for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine, building a theme that is going to be included in the next release of WordPress requires a lot of planning. I can
Hmm.
understand. You have the core team working on, well, the core WordPress stuff, and then you have the themes team that needs to deliver at a certain point so that it can be included in the release candidates, in the alphas, in the beta releases.
Yeah.
It sounds really exciting, and it's like you can learn a lot from that by contributing and being a co-lead. So yeah, thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Yeah.
Looking to contributors, you are sponsored by Kinsta. Full disclosure here to support your work in contributing to WordPress, and I want to thank you for contributing to WordPress. What would your advice be to people that are already contributing to WordPress but would like to have a more leading role in whatever team they are operating?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to thank Kinsta for sponsoring some of my time on contributing. It's really nice to actually see that there's some commitment from companies with the tool and with the people that are kind of like just devoting their time to continue building it. So thanks for that. Thanks, Kinsta, for sure. And I would say these type of projects are pretty much based on meritocracy. So I would say if you're interested, getting more notoriety to say so, it's just get involved, spend time. People are just so friendly. It's one of the best things of open source is that you're learning. It's kind of like you're learning from the best of the best. It's kind of like world class people there just spending their time and willing to help and willing to mentor you. So I would say if you want to grow in your contribution kind of like timeline or story, just find a spot where you would like to develop yourself and go deeply with that. Try to learn, try to ask, try to be as autonomous as possible at the same time, just by learning and just being there with eyes wide open and just listening to feedback and reading documentation. But pretty much like everything in life is just spending time and being tenacious enough to continue going after the frustration that things can bring. because also this type of project is a big project. A lot of people are involved, so sometimes the times are different, or there's a lot of conversations to be had before some things get merged, or you're not happy with the decision or whatever. So be patient and just go forward with what you want, and try to be helpful, and continue doing things, and that will take you to whatever place you just wanna arrive in your contribution kind of like road.
Yeah, in your contribution career. That sounds really great.
Yeah.
One of the things I've learned from contributing, I've mostly contributed in polyglots teams for the Netherlands, for the Dutch language,
Uh-huh.
and in the community team. I was in the organizing team for WordCamp Leiden, so I'm sorry we didn't meet there because
Yeah.
we could have, but
Yeah, absolutely.
there were a lot of people there, so it was really difficult. What I learned is always also is be present. There
Yeah.
are weekly or bi-weekly meetings on Slack where things are discussed on progress of, well, in whatever team you are contributing to. And I think one of the things that I learned was also is be present in those meetings, ask questions. If you have anything that you don't know and you want to know, ask questions, whether or not in the channel itself or privately with people in DM. Don't be afraid to ask questions because, yeah, it's a cliche, but dumb questions don't exist.
Yeah.
Some people
Yeah,
say dumb
absolutely.
questions are the ones that are not asked.
Exactly.
That is totally true, definitely. So looking a little bit ahead,
Uh-huh.
I talked to Tammy before. Yeah, there was the latest Kinsta Talks episode. I talked to Tammy Lister, and we briefly discussed how AI influences not just WordPress by itself, but also contributing to WordPress
Uh-huh.
and how contributors work. What would you say you would give as advice to people that want to use AI to help them, but they're not really sure how they should use AI? Do you have any takes on that you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, well, so far, at least I can share my experience. And I would say, like, pretty much AI to me, it's kind of like this companion or friend that it's kind of like there for me to just kind of like ping pong ideas. And somehow it's kind of like I can mature things with AI before kind of like putting them live. In that sense, it's helpful because this type of person that sometimes I'm a bit insecure about the things I'm doing. And it's helpful because you can just come up with ideas and mold them in the way that you eventually like. So that's nice. In terms of code, I would say it's really handy to automate the things that you know how to do. But I wouldn't advise for people just to contribute code generated by AI that they don't understand what it's doing. So
Yes.
I would say a nice starting point would be just to use AI, whatever is your AI of your preference, maybe to start understanding how things are working. So for that it's really good because it's a mentor that will never complain that you ask too many questions.
No, exactly.
So for that it's incredibly good. I would say sometimes for spotting where the problems are coming from, bugs and stuff like that is good, but also that's the best way to learn in my experience.
Yes.
Just to find a problem and say like, okay, where is this problem coming from and how do I fix it? So it's nice to have these kind of like friend. I call it chatty to ChatGPT. It's a name we have here in the house. But I would say that abusing is not good because you need to understand what the outcome is, and that's the most important thing. So it can leverage you.
Yes.
The final decision should be yours, and you should
Yes.
understand what the AI is coming with.
Yeah.
So it's great that we have these tools these days, but I doubt that it can take you to a next level if you're just kind of like giving all the decisions to the AI. It's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is really cool because this really aligns with how Tammy answered about the same question I asked her about AI and what she thinks of it and how contributors can use it. Use it as a companion. That's what you said. Use it as a
uh
friend. Use it as a way to share your ideas or share your code and get an opinion on that. And what she emphasized, and the same that you did, is if you're talking about code that comes out of AI, make sure you understand what the code does 100%
Yeah.
before you put it in a pull request or whatever, or even publish it.
Yeah.
And you
Absolutely.
can also use AI. Back in the days, I'm one of those guys that learned to program from a book. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
that
Me
old,
too.
audience.
Me too.
I got a book. It was about the first programming language I learned was Pascal.
Me too.
Oh wow, that's great. And there were all these examples in the book, and you just have to type them over and introduce bugs and understand how it worked like that. And now we have this powerful thing in your browser or on your command line or in your IDE, whatever, wherever, where you can just say, "Hey, I have an idea. I have whatever. I have a 3-dimensional array here, and I need to do some magic with it. Can you please help because I don't understand?" And then you
Mm-hmm.
can really let AI guide you through the process of you understanding it and then building your solutions based upon that. And I think that's really great, and we should definitely embrace that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Great story about the AI, Juan. Thank you for that. I would like to go towards the last question for this interview,
Mm-hmm.
and I've already asked something about advice for contributors, for experienced contributors to step up their skill level or make it heard that they want to have a different kind of role and how to work on that. One last question I want to ask you: if people are looking at this video and think contributing to WordPress, is that something for me? What kind of advice would you give these people to help them make a decision on whether they need to contribute or not?
Yeah, for sure. There's this misconception that for many people, contributing is just like pushing code, and sometimes it's really not. Kind of like we were talking about AI now, and many things in terms of codes can be automated somehow. So I feel like ultimately what makes us unique sometimes is kind of like the ideas that we have. So it's not that you need to be a savvy coder or anything just to contribute, but by organizing events or whatever, you can just help with documentation, test, and whatnot. And when it comes to the platform, you can just join the discussions and have this role more of product owner, product manager, and kind of like come up with ideas, go there, discuss, show interest in the direction that you would like to see for the platform. For the past years, I see that Gutenberg in particular, which is something I'm kind of like really like. It's somehow a bit attacked, because I don't know, because of some reasons. And I don't see a lot of the people complaining about the direction or how things are done there in the conversation of kind of like on the productive conversation of where things should be and how. So I would say it's pretty interesting that you can just join the discussion. Everything is there public, and you can basically add from whatever your background is, and yeah, try to participate in the construction of this tool that is what you are basically using or your clients are using, and you're working on top of it or whatever. So yeah, I think it's a bit of that.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Am I right if I hear between the sentences what you said? If people complain,
Hmm.
don't just complain, but just ask your question in the right forum, in the right teams. If
Yeah.
something doesn't work with Gutenberg how you would want it to work, just mention this, create a ticket for it, start a discussion about it, and maybe even help work towards the solution and make the product, in this case Gutenberg and WordPress by itself, better.
Yeah, exactly. There's this thing that's many times there's many features or functionalities that even the core team of any product would like to change, but sometimes the timing is not right because you're kind of like we just need that to coexist with something that have some, I don't know, a legacy functionality that you need to support or things like that. Many times it's not that there's not goodwill about changing things, but it's tough with the timing of things. So get involved, participate, and eventually, the more voices that are kind of like echoing an idea, the most likely that's going to happen, because eventually this is a tool that it's used by people, and if most of the people want to go in one direction, it's open source, and I don't know, it's going to go in that direction.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, that's a great take to end this interview. Juan, I want to thank you for your time for this interview. We are probably going to schedule a new one after this call, and I'm looking forward to hear a little bit more about some more specifics about your contributions for the next editions. And I think that would also be very interesting for the people to hear what you have been working on specifically. For now, I think this is a great introduction to who you are, what you are doing as in contributions to WordPress. And again, I want to thank you for your time. And I want to thank our viewers for looking at this video, for watching it. And if you have any questions or complaints about WordPress, go to wordpress.org and start looking for a place where you can record that and make WordPress better.
Thanks so
again,
much,
Juan.
Marcel. Yeah, thanks so much
You're
for
welcome.
having me. It was great to be here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.